rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8:01 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It is Wednesday the 22nd, and your Aurora weather report will be out shortly, and it'll teach you all about the thunderstorms that are expected going from today, starting today and going into tomorrow, so get ready for that. But we hope you're all doing well and having a good morning so far. We've got a great returning guest coming on to the show. He's a friend of ours and a colleague here in the professional world, and his name is Simon Rodriguez. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you so much. I love being on the show.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Fan
good
of the
to
show.
See you. Yeah, yep. I was just telling Simon before the mics came on that, we love this brother, so we, consistently try to do what we can to support the City of Aurora's youth services and everything, and let you guys know what they're doing and how you and your family and the kids can get involved.
Absolutely. Thank you.
How long have you been program manager or youth services manager?
Getting to 5 years now, close to 5 years this August.
Okay.
So, I've been in this role longer than I was a teacher, which is kind of crazy now to think about that. So this is, getting close to 5 years, half a decade almost.
Okay. Well, you've been doing a good job, and you you worked for the late Fred Rogers.
I did.
Who passed recently.
Yes. Such a phenomenal man. A champion of our community. We lost such a champion, but one of my first jobs in high school was working with the youth services department as a youth staff under Fred Rogers.
What was it like? What was the youth staff's role then? And were services for youth fledgling in those days? What was it like? What was there to do?
Oh no, there was. Oh my goodness, it was a huge operation. So. First of all, everything for youth services for the City of Aurora was operated out of the current Fred Rogers Magnet Academy building.
On Root Street.
On Root Street, yes. That used to be, I think originally it was Aurora Central Catholic, and then City bought it and created a community center out of it. And also I think it was the Area 2 or 3 for getting police department. But that was the youth services building. So there was after-school programming, summer programming, other agencies that worked out of that building year-round. So that obviously had a very large staff. The youth workers' roles was either you worked the after-school programs, not just in that building, but at different schools throughout the city. And then the summer program, there was like at least 20 campsites that were under Fred Rogers and the youth services department. And I was kind of one of those floaters that I helped kind of set up different events and different things, at the different sites. But there was at least 20 camps throughout the city that were run exclusively by the youth services department under Fred Rogers.
So now with all of that activity going on, it seems like, and this is just me kind of like, you trying to get your phone?
No, I was trying to grab some water. But
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Get your sip on, brother.
Thank you.
I
don't think we're visible right now to the...
No, not yet. Okay. We got another 5 minutes. Go ahead, get your sip on.
Yeah.
And actually, let's play a little bit of filler information. Okay, he took a sip. That was mad loud, too. I didn't mean to blast y'all's ears out. That's crazy. Stephanie Clark Castillo, host Sweet Pais. Good morning. So now, over the years, though, have they become more consolidated?
Yeah, so things have changed dramatically since the time when Fred Rogers was running the youth services department. The youth services department, like many services throughout our nation at the time, suffered heavily in the 07, 08, economy almost collapse, right?
Right.
So, and at that time, there was other agencies out there as well. So, post, 07, 08 economic turmoil, what happened was a restructuring, so to speak, of youth services from the City of Aurora. And that's when partnerships like City of Aurora and, cities and schools, formerly communities and schools, we've always worked exclusively with, District 129, 131, 204, 308, and our private schools as well. So there was more, a lot of changes. Also, the way things were funded, too. A lot of grant funds, the 21st Century Grant, which is a huge funder in many after-school and summer programming throughout our city. So it's, in a nutshell, it used to be, for the most part, under Fred Rogers, City of Aurora, was the overseer of all the programmings, or most of the programmings throughout the city, at different various schools. And then, because of the funding mechanism, especially with these grants, they became more, I don't want to say complicated, but now you have, each district has their own programming, but each district also contracts, cities and schools, family focus,
which then has their own levels of oversight on
correct.
each one. Right.
So yeah, I mean, it can get a little overwhelming for our families, but there are so many programmings out there. It's just it might be run by a different agency, but the quality and the they're all consistently the same.
Right. The time is 8:07. Now, what's on the calendar? What's coming up? What should people? What's the new services and initiatives and programs that we've got coming up?
Yes. So the first thing that I want to talk about is coming up next month, April 27th. Which is a Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Prisco Community Center. Okay. We have this every year, but we're going to go even bigger this year with our Youth and Family Resource Fair. Okay. So, a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today, a lot of the events and programs, again, it can get overwhelming because there's so much in our city. So why not create an environment where our families can come out and see the different types of programming that's out there, especially when we're really aiming for summer programming. Because, again, most of our kids are not in school. And then there's that disconnect of information for our parents and our youth to know what's out there for them to, continue to keep them engaged and active. So, so this event is just that. We're going to have over 45 different organizations that serve our youth. Everything from after school programs, summer programs, athletics, also resources like our food banks, our financial empowerment center, just all these different kind of tools and resources that our families and our parents could use to help them be more successful, but also to keep our kids, active and engaged this summer.
I read a great article just the other day, and it was about this Minnesota. The governor there signed he signed a law saying that young kids in middle school now get free breakfast and lunch,
awesome.
Which I thought was a great thing, and it reminded me of what you were just talking about there, because a lot of parents are having to do without to make sure their kids are able to have, have a meal and be healthy when they go to school. And then they also don't know what's local and close that can be of a benefit to them.
Absolutely.
And that's also a barrier,
It always is. Communication is sometimes a huge barrier on top of the other barriers that many of our families face. So, we need to we meaning all the stakeholders, all the community leaders, all the, organizations that serve our youth. We need to come together and ensure that our families know that these services are out there for them. And again, this is just one event of many events that are had throughout the year. But again, April 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Prisco Community Center. Free event, free food. We're going to have some tacos provided by our friends at Primo's Tacos. We're going to have performances by various youth organizations. And again, they're going to have over 45 organizations present there to share the different types of services and programs they have coming up, especially for the summer. So, put that in your calendar. Best thing I'm going to say throughout the, today is follow us on our Facebook page, City of Aurora Youth Services. That is where we, will have all this information. At this event too, will be the first opportunity for families to sign their kids up for our summer programs.
Okay.
So first dibs, first applications, we'll take them electronically there in person.
Right.
For our June summer camps that we have at various schools throughout the city, and then also our downtown Aurora camp, which I can talk about a little bit later. But this is our second year having a downtown Aurora camp in July for our youth. So again, we want to ensure that our kids have plenty of opportunities this summer. And our families also have the opportunity to sign up there first for our summer programs.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So the time is 8:11. Good morning to all of you great people. We have our dear friend Simon Rodriguez back in the flesh, and we were just talking about it the first time he was on the show. There was no video, so you were only hearing his voice.
Yeah,
and you weren't seeing his awesome looks, man. It's a nice shirt, brother.
Thank you. It's comfy.
Yeah, looks good. I'm feeling that. Literally, touching it.
It keeps me warm.
Yep. So one of the other things that I want to discuss with you is the usage of parks and green space.
Okay.
Now, we got a lot of different beautiful parks all over in different wards in the city and everything like that. I see groups of kids out there doing things, and they look like they're part of teams and activities and different things like that. But
right.
I'm not always sure if they're City of Aurora Youth Services activities. So
right.
are you guys like doing some of the different things I see at these parks, like I live close to McCarty Park, but Black Hawk Park and all that kind of stuff. Is that you guys doing that? And what are those things taking place out there?
Yeah, so depends on the time of year. So again, we're very summer heavy and after school program heavy. With our partners. So if there are things at parks, typically there are probably it could be the Aurora Township, it could be Park Valley Park District, it could be for example, I think I frequent Garfield Park on the east side, and I would see a group of youth soccer practicing there. But I think that's a separate, program. There's just so many programs out there that folks utilize our public spaces, and they should, for different types of programming. We also have a lot of one-offs, one of which I'm really excited to share. If I can today. So,
man, this is your hour, my brother.
Yes, and this is the first because publicly, because we've been working behind the scenes for a few years now. We received a grant to purchase a portable soccer field, and I'm so excited because this concept came to me a few years ago, where you think about the popularity of soccer. I call it football, right? It's the most popular sport by far in the world. And you see at the parks, I passed by Black Hawk Park on the west side, again, Garfield, you always see kids just set up jackets and, their soccer ball and they play.
Right.
Whether it's organized or not. And
those two trees, man, that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's why I love about that. I love this sport because it's more accessible than other sports.
Right.
And anyway, so this portable soccer field concept's so cool. So think about like if you've been a hockey game, like a hockey rink, you set it up, or like when they set up in arenas. So it's this concept, but it's all weather, all purpose. So you can put it on any type of surface, grass, gravel, sand, and it is portable. We're gonna move it around. So I'm excited. So the tentative plan is for this May for us to launch this portable soccer field, and we're going to put it at different parks, different community open spaces. We're going to aim for it to be in neighborhoods that have park deserts, or they maybe don't have as many amenities for our youth.
Right.
And again, we're going with this whole concept of just show up and play, grab a ball, show up with your friends, and then play. And it's awesome. It's netted. So there's this big panels that surround it, and we'll have opportunities for sponsorship, which will be coming up. But it's these panels where the kids can even jump over or go through a door at the goal where the goals are. It's a state-of-the-art thing. We actually had it posted last summer at Phillips and Garfield as a test run, and it was super popular. So I'm excited that we're actually going to have one permanently. We're going to move it around to different places. Where are those places, you might ask? That's forthcoming, but obviously places like Phillips Park, Garfield Park, different parts we're going to have it on both the east and west side. So we'll get that information out soon. We're finalizing locations. But little things like that, and I don't really mean little, but those, I guess, one-offs, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
we just put something there, have the kids show up. Included with that, though, we are talking with current and former local soccer players and even some former professional soccer players to come out and do free soccer clinicals for our youth.
That's wonderful. That's
and,
nice.
and these are like one-offs, right? These things that we're gonna do with this. And in the future, I see this, being part of different festivals, bringing it to Fiestas Patrias, where we know in the Latino community, soccer is such a huge part. We're talking to our friends at World Relief. We have a lot of our families, a lot of our refugee families.
Wasink, what up?
Yes, a lot of our refugee families where, again, football, soccer is so ingrained in so many cultures throughout the world. And what a beautiful way to bring, to keep a little piece of home, right? And
Absolutely.
for people's culture when they come to Aurora, because again, it's more than a sport, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I mean, we're getting the U.S. is going to host the Gold Copa America, which is the North and South American countries, in 2024 next year. Huge.
Wow.
And then in 2026, we're hosting the U.S. along with Canada and Mexico, hosting the World Cup, which is the biggest sporting event in the history of the world.
Wow.
So you're gonna start to see soccer being elevated even more so, and I'm really excited that we're playing a role, a small role, but it's still an important role in making soccer accessible to all of our youth in Aurora.
Man, it reminds me of a famous quote.
But in Aurora's case, fly isn't just a verb, it's an adjective. Aurora's fly. Aurora's food.
And Aurora's got top-notch soccer and sports programming. That's what it sounds like
Absolutely.
to me. I mean, we got, former players coming back to teach the youth?
Yes, I'm so excited. We've been talking to former players from East Aurora, West Aurora, Marmion. Some of them are coaches now. Still in Aurora, they're coaching soccer. Current varsities, and all levels of soccer players from again our high schools. It's such a wonderful way to connect. Some of them are going to be, at a fire station. We'll have our firemen actually out there with our youth, just playing soccer with them. So it's just, it's bringing the community together, and in the love of the game, but also just teaching, life skills, and letting them just, enjoy this amenity, right? And so I'm really excited about it.
What's participation like? What's family participation like? Are we seeing the amount of families and kids that we want to see and we need to see taking part in these, or is the message not getting out there to everybody about what's available for young people?
I just think in a city as large as ours, over 200,000 people that we serve, youth are a huge chunk of that. You're always gonna have a need, which you could look at it from a negative or a positive, right? It's a negative because we need to get the word out to more families, right? Absolutely. There's always going to be the need. You could look at it as a positive to say, hey, we're never going to get comfortable with the services that we offer or advocate for. We're going to continuously work with partners, look for grants, and also talk to our community, talk to our youth.
Right.
And see what are the needs that we need to fill. Because as you and I know, the needs that we had growing up are vastly different from the current needs
Right.
that
Very
exist
true.
today. Some of them still are the same. We still want our kids to be active physically, mentally.
Right.
But the way we do that might change, right? So that's the important thing with anyone in a position that in a position that I'm in, to regularly have conversations and communicate with our community.
I think that's awesome. The time is 8:19 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Our friend Simon Rodriguez, Youth Services Manager, has returned to the show for his third appearance. This is your third because you came with Cindy.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yep. Y'all came with Cindy last year now. So, man, time's going by.
Yes.
But I have some news for you guys. And then, Gabriel, you got that press release?
We do have that press release.
You got that ready?
Yes, we do.
I'm gonna go ahead. Let me plug you in, baby. You gonna do that, and then you'll pass the football back to your boy. Here we go.
We got you. So friend of the show, Norma Peterson, will be speaking at a press conference with the DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin, the Honorable Anne Celine O'Halloran Walsh, and many other members of the Juvenile Courts Division. And Wednesday, March 22nd at 11 a.m., so that would be today. And the press conference will be held in DuPage County State's Attorney's Office located at 503 North County Farm Road in Wheaton. It'll be on the south side of the courtyard across from the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you very much for that. I'm going to give a shout out to the DuPage County Courthouse right now. Judge Brannon. Yeah, Judge Brannon. You know, I have to tell you, I know you guys are going to be, Curtis, what were you doing? I was traffic court. Yeah, no. Had to go there. Little ticket. Yeah, no, nothing too big. I don't want your listeners to be like, oh, I can't listen no more. No, but listen, I was there. Judge Brannon. Shout out to Judge Brannon. Really had a really great courtroom and had a good courtroom experience. You know what I'm saying? And gave a brother some love on the passing of my dad too. Asking, you know,
That's awesome.
For missing the first court date. Like, you know what, Mr. Spivey, you know, get out of here. Appreciate that. Shout out to Judge Brannon. And shout out to Norma Peterson, all the great work that she's doing. She is the executive director of Document the Abuse. Get to know the EAA. That's the Evidentiary Abuse Affidavit, and all of the great work that it can do and help with law enforcement. Excuse me. Joe Jackson's here. He says, I've been a volunteer youth soccer coach for almost 20 years. I'd be interested in helping / getting more info if needed. Please feel free to reach out and let me know how. See, that's what the show is all about.
Yes,
you see
Joe,
that?
We'll be getting in touch with you for sure.
You see
Thank
that?
You.
Put them together. Come together. Boom, 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 boom. Right now. Oh, boom, 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 boom. But we got to stop before we get the license, right? Oh, y'all sample the Beatles.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get to the news. This is what I was supposed to be telling you guys about. Two great Paramount shows are coming up. Two great concerts, actually. The first is Purple Rain. That's the Prince tribute show. That's going to be Friday, August 11th, 8 p.m. Subscribers get 10% off tickets. With songs like When Doves Cry, Little Red Corvette, and Purple Rain, this concert proves Prince was in a class all his own. It was sold out in 2018. Now, get this. It's not only was it sold out in 2018, not only is it going to be here in Aurora, of all the cities where it could be, but did you know that this is the #1 Prince tribute band in the world?
Wow.
The world.
That's awesome. The world. By the way, can I give a quick shout out to Josh and Hannah Welton? I don't know. They're from Aurora, and they performed with Prince.
Really?
Yes. Hannah was a drummer for his band, for Prince's actual band. He had a 3-female band, and Hannah Welton was the drummer for that. And then Josh actually produced. Joshua Welton, the famous, awesome Welton family in Aurora, produced some of Prince's music towards the end of his
shout
career.
out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not diminishing Purple Rain, because I saw that show and it was phenomenal. Right. But we actually have some local plugins that were actually working and performing with Prince.
That's wonderful. The next concert is Happy Together. That's the 2020. This is the 2023 tour. Excuse me. The Turtles, Little Anthony, the Classics, Cal Sills, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, and the Vogues. The best and biggest music of the 60s and 70s. It sells out every single year, ladies and gentlemen. You're hearing about it here on Good Morning Aurora. And then the last thing I need to bring up to you guys, Carnitas Los Raúles, good morning. Nicole Astor, good morning. Norma Peterson, Dave Cannon, and Aisha Saxon. Zora Zapata, good morning. Summer camp was awesome last year. Thank you very much for that. Jennifer Ryan Mayton, and I would be remiss if I did not mention Bianca Camargo. Good morning to all of you fantastic people.
Judge Camargo.
Judge Camargo, that's what up.
Yes.
You know what? Scratch it up. Because I was going to say Judge Camargo, but then I was kind of like, I'm going to just do it, right? Bianca Camargo.
But she's a friend too, right?
She is
so
you know.
But she's also earned that title. So
she did.
Judge
That's
Bianca Camargo.
That is a fact. Yep. She was like Rocky. You know? Like with the music and all that. It's the eye of the tiger. Okay.
There's going to be a lot of companies calling in the show.
Hey, that guy singing my song.
Yes.
Okay, here it is. Hidden Warriors is a display taking place at the GAR, U.S. The History of Women in the United States Military. This is going on until September 30th, and it's open to the public. It showcases the role of women in the U.S. military from the American Revolution to the present day. Visitors will learn about the many challenges that women have faced and overcome, including discrimination and prejudice, as they serve their country with distinction and bravery. The exhibit will feature personal stories, photographs, and artifacts from Aurora veterans, bringing their experiences to life in a way that is both personal and powerful. Two great veterans who are there. One of them is Karen. She is a friend of the show. Her uniform is one of the featured uniforms there. She's a Army veteran, and the other veteran is Bahati Hart, who was an Air Force veteran. I'm not sure if her uniform is in there too, right?
I believe, yeah. There's a display of her accomplishments as well, which I assume is that uniform.
Shouts out. It's open noon to 4 p.m. Wednesdays through Fridays, and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays, 23 East Downer Place. When you go there, ask for a guy named Eric Pry. Tell him that Good Morning Aurora says hi.
Awesome.
Oh, it rhymed too.
Yes.
Okay, time's 8:26. So, Simon, what are the challenges that the Youth Services Department faces? Let's take a forward look. Let's clean the mirror off and take a deep look at it. What are the challenges that we face, and what's the next 5 years going to look like for the department?
Oh, it's a phenomenal question. That's something that I think that we think about almost on a daily basis, right? Is, all right, well, how do we meet the needs of our community, of our youth? And again, we're tackling the same issues that all our partners and stakeholders are, with the mental health epidemic, right? With the lack of access to resources, right? Physical health, mental health, all these things. But, it's just that it's so important that we continue to bring all our partners together to the table, because, again, places like the Park District, our school districts, township, all of these big players are doing some phenomenal things in programs, and I think we look at it too, like, I would never attempt to do something that, like, someone else is doing that's really well, right?
Right.
You don't want to reinvent the wheel. What you want to do is say,
Right.
hey, how can we be a partner? How can we assist? How can we help elevate your program and get the word out to more families, right? And so I think it's so important that when we look at any and all problems that we face on a consistent basis, the biggest thing I look at is what is the demand and how can we meet it? Can we meet it head on, or is this a great opportunity for us to reach out and bring some of our partners together to help increase their outreach, right, to our families? And I think that's in the next 5 years that needs to continue to happen and grow as we start to see new players coming into our community. Boys and Girls Club, very reputable national organization, or like Alive, for example, Alive Aurora, and they have their site in Naperville. They're relatively new, and they hit the ground running, have done some amazing things. So, whether it is a regional nonprofit or a national conglomerate like the Boys and Girls Club, it's so important for us to come to the table, to work together, realizing, having the mindset that City of Aurora Youth Services does not have ownership over this, right? This group of students, or
Right.
I remember being very naive when I started the job and started noticing that sometimes this mindset exists. Like, I'm good. I have this is my domain.
Right.
More
if it happens on this side of town.
Right. No, we have to come together for our kids, for our families. And the only way we're going to do that is to collaborate. And again, just bring people to the table and have conversations. I think, over the last few years, I've seen, I've seen so many representatives of all these wonderful organizations come together and discuss what they have coming up, but also, hey, ways we can collaborate, or asks. There might be an organization that says, hey, we have this event coming up. We are in, need of volunteers. another organization can say, hey, we actually, we're a service organization.
Right.
Kiwanis, and we do a lot of great things with the Coach for Kids and Rotary Club. So it's so important because, again, we've had agencies and folks that have been here for generations. And it's so important to bring their expertise, their knowledge to the table as well. At the same time, welcoming these, new players,
right.
so to speak, right? Like, again, like Alive and Boys and Girls Club. Those are two that come to mind that are relatively new to our community, but have a wealth of knowledge and experience as well as in what they do.
What's the cost for families of these programs during the summertime?
Great question. So again, April 27th, come on out to the Prisco Center because it ranges. From my experience, as far as the programming that we'll promote at this event, majority of them are free or low cost.
Okay.
So that's a wonderful thing. Now, those that are of cost, there's a lot of opportunities for scholarships, sponsorships. And I always say this, and please, I say this as serious as I can. If there are families out there who want to enroll their children in a program and then they see the dollar sign and then that's like I'm sorry, I can't. And the reality is for a lot of families, that's not possible. Please reach out to us. If there are ways we can find funding out there, it breaks my heart knowing that kids cannot participate in a program because cost is a barrier, transportation is a barrier. Those are real things too.
Yeah.
But if there's any way we can try to alleviate that or maybe recommend something else, I mean, we just want our kids to be active and engaged and participate. And so that's always, again, I would say if there are any barriers that we can discuss, it's financial and transportation. And, as we move forward also, back to your question about 5 years from now, I really, really, really want to focus also on the access to public transportation. What can we do? And there's already discussions on assisting, actually a program to be rolled out later this year to assist our seniors.
Right. The Pace Bus Initiative?
I
Was
believe
it Pace?
I'm Katrina Boatwright is
Sure,
our
sure,
contact,
sure.
so you might want to chat with her about that. But we want to see how that works, how that helps our seniors, and how we can potentially even mold something like that to fit the needs of our youth, and not just for programming. Our youth, many of them are working, and maybe that transportation is a barrier for them to get to and from their job. Getting them to programming, getting them to facilities that for resources. So that's something that definitely is on, and has been on our radar, that we want to, again, bring stakeholders to the table to see if there's something that we can do to help solve that issue.
Man, that's powerful stuff, man. That's powerful stuff. I think about, like, now being a parent and everything, you come home with the slip and the thing to fill out, and there's that cost at the bottom for your parents, and it's always like, man, maybe we can, and it shouldn't be a maybe, right?
Absolutely.
It shouldn't be a maybe. Like, man, if we could just take it should be a given. Yep. It should be a given. And
it goes back to what you said earlier about where was it in Minnesota?
Governor Walz, Tim Walz, that's his name, yeah.
So I know because I live in the district and I taught at East Aurora High School. I know District 131 is 100%, lunch program free for all students. Every student that goes
that's
there
right.
qualifies.
That's correct. Yes,
and that's just so amazing. And I think sometimes people overlook the power behind something like that. Mm-hmm. Ensuring. Here's the bottom line, and any educator, anyone that works with kids will tell you, if you have a hungry child in your classroom, in your program, that's the barrier that's keeping them from being able to engage in their academics and their athletics, right? So if you have a hungry child in your program, that already is you're not going to be able to really engage them in the activities because they're hungry. So I applaud East Aurora and other school districts and throughout our area and throughout our country that looked at as food should be a right,
right,
a human right, and no child should ever be hungry. And so I think that's the mindset that we really need to have, and that shouldn't, unfortunately, that sometimes gets political, and it shouldn't, because these are our children,
right? These
are our future, and if we want a prosperous community, we as stakeholders and those that make decisions need to ensure that programs to help our kids be successful are put in place.
That's awesome.
And that the barriers that exist to get kids to those programs are addressed.
I do have some local news to deliver, but I just wanted to, one of our great listeners, Dora Sanchez Soto, says, I want to ask you this. Good morning, Dora. Since we're here, what efforts are being made to get the information out to non-English speaking parents?
It's a great question. So everything we do, we ensure that it is both in English and Spanish. And if there's ever a need for another additional languages, we will do that because we want to ensure that our parents, regardless of any language barriers, understand that there are resources available to them. I think it's very important when we think about when you staff your individuals, if the need of certain programming that those staff members are going to be working in requires someone bilingual, that we need to do that.
Okay.
We need to be intentional. That's the thing. And I'm glad, Dora asked that question. Intentionality is everything. Everything from our flyers, our English and Spanish, our applications for our programs are in English and Spanish. Our resource fair on the 27th, information given there on the microphone, announcements, English and Spanish. The overwhelming majority of the programming that's the organizations that will be at this event always send out, staffing that's also bilingual, because we understand the reality that we have so many of our families or of our parents that need this information,
Right.
that are Spanish speaking.
I like.
So tenemos la información también en español. Quiero dejar a todos que sepan que también tenemos toda nuestra información en español. Si tienen preguntas, por favor, me pueden mandar mensaje o me pueden llamar. You know what I said, right?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
good.
Because I watch Buenos Dias Aurora, the second largest city's first bilingual news podcast, every Tuesday and Thursday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. So that's why I know exactly what he said. And I would encourage you all, if you want to get your Spanish up. But I want to plug Monica and Karina as well, because we have a staff that makes sure that they share the news in Spanish as well.
Absolutely.
So they
Es muy importante.
very much so. Very
Right,
much
there
so.
you go.
Very much. All right, so now I'll take that commercial real quick. Simon, you hit the nail on the head in more ways than one, because there is people who, for example, needed to get down to fill out applications with us for like rent assistance and things like that. And they're so close, but yet so far, because they may not have a car or whatever the case may be, or maybe, and technology is a barrier too. People don't have personal computers. There's a lot of people at home who don't have a laptop.
Right.
They don't have one. So, for them, what's that look like, going to the library, amongst other things?
Yeah.
All right, so let me give you guys a quick piece of news. The time is 8:38 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Our dear friend Simon Rodriguez, City of Aurora's Youth Services Manager, is here with us for his part two. Friday, April 7th, Who Killed the Carpenter's Son? This presentation for Easter will be taking place at Fresh Start City Church, 10 South Lancaster Avenue at 7 o'clock p.m. That is the intersection of Galena and Lancaster. So please go there for that. If you're looking for a comfortable and a fun church home, consider Fresh Start City Church. Coming up next, April 27th, that's a Thursday, the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley has Estate Planning 101, Protect Your Family's Future. This workshop is this complimentary seminar is to help you learn more about what to consider when creating a personal plan to protect your family's future. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., Thursday, April 27th, 101 South River Street, downtown Santori Branch. RSVP by April 20th. We've made a few posts about this. We will make another one so that you guys can take part in that.
It's awesome.
And then the next thing I'm going to mention is the job fair. Our friends of the Kane County Circuit Clerk's Office have a job fair happening. Explore your career possibilities. April 22nd, 10 a.m. to noon. Kane County Circuit Clerk's Office, 540 South Randall Road, St. Charles, Illinois, 60174. If you are an employer, right? So you're the guy looking for jobs. Or no, scratch myself up. You're the guy who's got jobs out there for people who want to get them, right? Because if you were, right? Your registration deadline is the 31st of this month. Reserve your table today. For more information, you can email circuitclerk@co.kane.il.us. Gabriel Bradford, would you please put that link in the chat for these folks? Now, that is written out in the news doc, my young brother.
Yes.
And actually, while you're doing that, Katie L. Simpson Conklin, good morning. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Katie L. Simpson. And Dora Sanchez, thank you very much. I got one more piece of news to give to you guys. One more. Here it comes. Hot off the presses. Monday mornings at 9 a.m., I encourage you to tune in to Coffee with Kiffy. Join State Representative Stephanie Kifwit every Monday morning for Coffee with Kiffy. That starts at 9 a.m. on her Facebook page, IL District 84. That's the 84th District in the Illinois House. Facebook Live. She has pertinent, factful, relevant. I mean, it's like, man, it's like Good Morning Aurora Part 2. She got new, and she knows. So if you want factful information about what's going on locally and with the state of Illinois, you would do yourself a favor if you would tune in to Coffee with Kiffy, 9 a.m. Monday morning. So watch Good Morning Aurora on Monday, and then stay tuned and watch her. Unless, of course, you're at work. Then your boss is going to be like, yo, just back-to-back YouTube. That's what we're doing? Like, just
Yeah. There's always a way.
Right. Sorry, I got to stay informed, right?
Absolutely.
You
We
know?
all need to,
Yeah.
for sure.
Outreach.
We have local elections coming up, and I was actually just talking to someone the other day, like,
Thank you, Gabriel.
On
My
April
man.
4th, right?
Right.
And those unfortunately are notorious for very low voter turnout.
Absolutely.
And I think, there's always voter fatigue from November, but there's also, just folks that don't know. And it's so important to get well informed. That's why podcasts like these are just so relevant and important to know what's going on in our community.
Yeah, thanks,
Props.
man. Appreciate
Props
it.
to the team.
Thank you
Yep.
very much, man. I thank you very much. Yep. I always got to make sure the team. And Brett, I think you saw your mom in the chat too.
Nice. Brett's got an awesome
yeah.
Green Day shirt right now that I complimented because Green Day is one of my favorite bands. So.
I like Green Day.
Yeah.
So right now, the time is 8:42 a.m. I'm thinking that all of these services that the city has going on, from youth services to senior services, we were just talking the other day about the Operation Snow Shovel,
Yes.
where we got volunteers who come out and shovel the walks for the seniors,
Yeah,
or
beautiful.
whatever there is. What kind of roles can volunteers fill for you guys within the youth services?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Or
So
would they be just City of Aurora volunteers? And they
No.
get dispersed?
So we always, volunteers are always welcome and needed. But shout outs to Katrina again, right? I think it's just a phenomenal initiative that she launched, I think over a year ago. It's the second year to, help our seniors, our most vulnerable in our community. Something as simple as that we take for granted, shoveling snow.
Right.
Luckily, knocking on wood, we haven't had too bad of a winter
Right.
as far as snowfalls, right? But, we're still technically in winter, I think.
Yeah, for
In this
sure.
area we are.
And now we got Aurora weather, so y'all might want to watch out for those temps.
Yes.
Watch out for those temperatures.
Yeah. But back to your question, sorry. So there's actually a portal, and I can send the team the link. So our community services department, which encompasses our neighborhood groups, youth services, senior services, just so much goes on, so many events just within our department that there is actually a volunteer link form that someone can fill out. And every time there's a need, you'll get a notification saying, hey, we have this event coming up. We could use volunteers.
Cool.
So that's kind of like a general overview of if you're looking at volunteers. There's a lot of youth organizations, service organizations. You're looking for hours. There are events. Our summertime, we have everything from, all the back to school fairs, events by different aldermen. We have our National Night Out event, the first Tuesday in August. 30 different sites have events. So, and there's also a lot of our cultural events. We have our Fiestas Patrias, which is huge 2-day event, at River Edge Park in September, Puerto Rican Parade and Festival. They're working on bringing the Tejano Festival, which I'm really excited about, in downtown Aurora as well, and others. So there are plenty of opportunities with all of the different events, the 4th of July parade and festivities. So if you want to volunteer, there's plenty of opportunity too. So again, I think to encompass everything, I'll go ahead and share with all of you. There's a link that individuals can fill out, and you'll be on our list. And then whenever there are opportunities, you'll receive notification.
Great.
To be a volunteer.
Why am I drawing a blank? The next question I think you kind of answered. Thank you. You saw my man. He's.
I wanted to do that since you started the.
All good, brother. All good. I remember now. So we have the ability to be mobile far easier. What's the possibility of us perhaps getting a table and doing the news at the April?
Oh my goodness.
At the April event.
I think I've invited you guys in the past. No, but I would love for you to be there. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And other events we have coming. We have our 29th annual Aurora Sports Festival.
Right.
Which
you did invite us in the past, but we had a different mic setup, which was unfeasible at that time.
Exactly.
So
So now, absolutely, I would love to have Good Morning Aurora at our resource fair on the 27th.
Appreciate it.
Live. I think that'll be phenomenal. Maybe some of our families that can't attend in person. And I want to also share that if you cannot attend in person, we have a youth resource guide, and we're actually in the process of updating it and revamping it in English and Spanish. And literally all the organizations that will be at the resource fair, their information will be in this booklet. We have physical copies. We'll have physical copies. But we also will share a link where you can click on it, and it's virtual, and you can print out a PDF copy for yourself, again, in English and Spanish. So if you can't be there in person, you can still have access to those resources, which is really important.
All right.
But yes, I expect the team to be there.
No, we can do that, man.
Awesome.
We can definitely do that. That'll be that would be awesome. So we'll be there like in the flesh, reporting live and doing a show. That's going to be some good stuff. Where were you born and raised?
Right here in Aurora. I was born at Mercy Hospital. So I was born on the west side, technically.
Okay.
Raised on the east side. So
Okay.
I went to a Catholic school. It's closed currently. They closed back, I think, in 07, 08. But Archbishop Romero Catholic School, which is attached to St. Nicholas Church on the east side.
Okay.
I went from kinder through 8th, and then I went to East Aurora High School. Graduated from East Aurora, and then proud graduate of both Wabanzi and Illinois State University.
All right.
But yeah, born and raised. I mean, I lived in Aurora my whole life, minus the time I was at school or then when I was in the Army or when I, lived abroad. But other than that, Aurora is my home. It's my community.
What's the biggest changes you've noticed from childhood to now?
Oh, man. I think the first thing that always comes to mind, because I unfortunately grew up in a neighborhood that was plagued with gang violence. I mean, like, our house got shot at and we weren't even gang related. It's just crossfire. To be a child and growing up with that, and I know, gangs still exist, but it was definitely not, it's not the same now that it was back in the 90s. And folks listening that grew up in Aurora and certain neighborhoods in the 90s know. But that's a testament to the hard work of our community. Can I take a quick break?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, hold on. Let me. It happens on the mic. Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Folks.
You know what's interesting is, like, man, I totally feel for you because it's happened to me on so many shows.
What do you do? Do you just commercial?
I just mute it. Just mute.
Just have the people uncomfortable silences, right?
Yep.
That happened to me so much when I was teaching because you're talking for a while and then you don't realize I talk pretty loud too. Mm-hmm. And so I'm using my voice and then just water helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, but going back to what I was talking about, just a testament to so many in our community, a lot of our leaders that are still to this day, working hard to keep kids out of gangs,
right?
Off the streets. Law enforcement, our community police officers, so vital. Mm-hmm. I think of people like Sky Khalees, just amazing. There we go again. Sorry.
See, they must know they must know you're telling a good story. You got those internal gremlins.
Oh man, but So that's been a huge change for sure. Just also the development of just so much.
Right.
Our parks, that we grew up in, just, coming back to life.
Right.
Phillips Park being a destination park. I remember when the Sunken Garden was just an empty like hole, I used to roll down the hill, that little hill, and I mean the zoo's always been there, but we didn't have a splash pad.
Just bare amenities.
It was bare amenities, and just to see the growth from when I was a child to now is a phenomenal. And again, this is our home, so a lot of us, really care about creating a wonderful experience for the next generation.
Yeah.
East Aurora High School that I went to, was half of the size it is now. It's so funny. If you haven't been to East Aurora in the last even 10 years, they added, the field house. They added a new foyer. It's just beautiful, but it's just the stadium,
Right.
at East High. And I know West is working on, I think they're they this year they opened they're currently working on. I know that they're working on stuff. So West Aurora's stadium is going to be revamped as well. So it's
Right.
it's just those things for me are so big because these are community spaces. This is spaces that bring people together, and just I love all the amenities that we've done in the parks and the green spaces that we've focused on. River Edge Park again.
Right.
Folks remember what that area, right by the river was before River Edge. I think it was just there's nothing. Or just,
Yeah, it was just
it wasn't anything for the community to come together and hear live music and have celebrations and festivals. So
right.
I'm all for that, man. I love it.
Times 8:51. The downtown camps.
Yes.
Let's talk about those.
Yes. Love. So this was a great collaborative brainchild
Okay.
of several organizations, not just us. So the GAR, which you gave shout outs to Eric Pry earlier.
Yep.
Jen Evans helped on the art aspect. She's our art director. Jen Evans, awesome. I'm sorry, Jen Burns.
Yes.
Jen, I apologize. Then our friends at APS, Harish and his team of Andy and Kelsey, and then Brian at the Fire Museum. These are 4 different locations. We said, hey, what if we did these camps where they're themed after the facilities, right?
Right.
And each week the kids, move from one location to the other. So at the end of the 4 weeks, every child gets in a fire safety camp. They get a STEAM camp. They get history military museum camp, and then an art camp, all in one experience. And we piloted it last year for 80 kids, 20 kids at each site. Worked phenomenal. We partnered with the Northern Illinois Food Bank to provide food, and our kids absolutely loved it. And again, we are exposing our downtown Aurora, to our youth and letting them know that, hey, there are also activities and things for our youth to do. So we're excited to bring it back this year. We're going to increase the size to 100 kids. And again, we just want to continue to grow every year. But again, at our resource fair will be the first opportunity for our families to sign our kids up. And all the programs that I'm talking about, you live in Aurora or you attend an Aurora school, you qualify. That's
Awesome.
it. And I think it's 1st through 5th grade.
Right.
And we're working on some other stuff for our middle school students that is forthcoming. But because our families always ask, can my child attend? If they attend a school in Aurora, they live in Aurora. That's the kind of basis. And these programs, by the way, are 100% free for our families. There is no charge. But for our downtown Aurora camp, we do require the parent to attend an orientation. So
Awesome.
if you sign your kid up, you have to attend an orientation before they are enrolled and start the camp.
Time is 8:54 a.m. How can we help you? How can we and the community help you in the efforts of your team?
Absolutely. I think the first thing for sure is to ensure that information is getting out to the public, right, to our families. We're already doing it with this podcast, but we'll definitely share some information on upcoming events. And if you could share, that'd be fantastic.
No doubt. No doubt. Sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen.
So that, and then please also communicate with us. My email is public, obviously. rodriguezs@aurora.il.us. Number 630-256-3402. I want to be as accessible as I can for our community. Please call with your questions. Please email with any needs, concerns, questions that you have. If we have the program, we'll offer it to you. If we don't, we'll connect you with a partner or organization that does. And because the needs of our youth and families are so vast and diverse, that is why, again, it's so important that I go back to the fact that partnerships and collaboration is so key to ensuring that, we can provide quality programming and resources for our youth.
That's awesome.
So that's important. But please share. The more information we get out to our community, the better.
Yep. Time's 8:55. Tracy Duran says the kiddos love the Aurora Regional Fire Museum Camp. It's a great program for the kids during the summer. Stephanie says Dora is a former, Lord. Dora says Stephanie is a former Aurora Alderwoman. For those who didn't know, she is awesome. Yes, she is. And Josue Pais implores us to vote. Get your vote on, ladies and gentlemen. Get your vote on. Cheryl Brownell is here. Good morning, Cheryl Brownell. Marilyn Katz, good morning to you. Saul Olivas, good morning to you as well. Get to know Saul. He's a great brother.
Great teacher.
Yes, he's a teacher as well.
Yes,
that's
great
right.
Teacher.
Yep. Well, did we get everything? It's 8:56. Did we?
Oh, just a few. Probably not, but we covered a lot, so that's good.
What did we miss? We got time. Let's do it.
And it just kind of a heads up. And again, please follow us on our Facebook page, City of Aurora Youth Services. We have obviously again our summer programming coming up. We have our resource fair again on April 27th. That's a Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Prisco Center. Mm-hmm. We have our sports festival, which I'm excited. That's our schools, all our middle schools in Aurora will be competing. City of Lights tournaments. We have our girls soccer, middle school soccer happening in May, as well as co-ed track for middle school. That information is forthcoming. So again, keep track of our Facebook page. And I just want to give again quick shout out and thanks to all our partners out there. I think there's so many unsung heroes in our community that we probably know their organization, we know what they do, but every day is a daily grind of folks just literally coming up with plans and solutions to serve our youth. And we're nothing, without them. So thank you to all our partners. It's a long list. I can't name everyone, but I just really want to give them a shout out.
That's wonderful.
And very excited to work alongside with all of you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Simon mentioned, we'll be sure to share whatever information they have about any of their programs. As soon as we get it, we'll make sure that you guys get the information in both English and Spanish for as long as it takes.
Sorry, I do have one more plug, and I think and this is for our young people listening. So with our Aurora Youth Council, which Gabriel is the chair.
Plug. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So he's actually the chair, and he can add to this announcement. Yeah. But we actually have an initiative along with our innovation department and the Aurora Youth Council is we are going to different schools to get feedback from them, to hear them out, right? And we're calling this the Think Cafe. It's a wonderful concept to hear our youth, 16 to 24-year-olds. I know we're going to be at East Aurora next month and West Aurora. We attended, we went to do a session at Mattia Valley. Thank you, Dr. Eccles, for setting that up with us. And really, it's our youth, representatives from the Aurora Youth Council, talking to other youth and getting feedback from them. Everything from, how can we as a city and our partners do a better job of creating a better life for our youth, right? And it's so important, again, to hear them out and hear what their thoughts are. Right, Gabriel?
Yeah. No, it's been a great program. We've been piloting this out in a couple different spaces.
Yes.
And I had the recent opportunity to attend one of these events at the Alive Center. It was amazing to hear students come out and say, have different comments on what they see happening in Aurora in the next couple of years, seeing how they personally feel about living in Aurora. So there's so many conversations that we've been having that have just been really fruitful for us as a youth council, as an innovation department, youth services department. It's been really great for us to see all the things that are being provided for, but also all the things that we can provide for.
Absolutely.
And start creating programs and meaningful change for us. So it's a really great opportunity for not only just these departments to hear your voice, but also for the city council. This is something that this is a feedback for us, and this is also feedback we'll be bringing to the city of Aurora very soon.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And again, when I say 16, 24-year-olds, the spaces we're going into are not just high school. You know, as you mentioned, we went to the Alive Teen Center, which a combination of middle and high school students. We're going into the non-traditional spaces and working with Quad County Urban League, and going into a community. We're working with Wabanzi and Aurora University, so we really want to get a depth and variety feedback from, again, targeting 16 to 24-year-olds. And we can share with you, there's a barcode and a link for folks. If we're not coming to you, you can still go online through this barcode and just take a quick survey, and just to give us your feedback. And again, this is going to be very important information that our youth council will then present to our city council later this year.
All right, good stuff. Well, the time is 9 a.m. We appreciate you guys for watching this great episode today. We appreciate Simon's time for coming back on the show again for his third appearance.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. Anything that's going on with the City of Aurora's Youth Services Department, you can find here and also on Buenos Dias Aurora. The flyer and link for the information about the Aurora Youth Council Think Cafe. We will make sure that we post that for you guys, that you could share and take part in that. Other than that, the show ends on a positive note. What is your message today for the people of Aurora?
Oh, man. I guess today I just share just positivity. There are so many things that we can complain about, point fingers at, and just throw negativity out. But always remember that we as adults should be representatives for our youth, and set up that good example. So we can discuss, we can debate, we can disagree. Those are all great things that are part of the human experience. But show positivity, throw good energy out there, so our youth can, feed off of that and see that we can be civil. And that just came to my heart, so I wanted to share that. Be positive, folks. Spread the love.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed day, have a safe day, and have a prosperous day. Good Morning Aurora will return on Friday with another great episode and interview. Take care of yourself and each other.
Awesome.